So it wasn't your intention originally to go, it's because Cat was working?
Well, we're back and forward quite a lot, you know, so we're quite lucky that, that I'm able to do some work over here and she's able to do her work over there, and, you know, we spend quite a lot of time in the air.
What if the perfect marriage was never really perfect at all? What if behind the smiles, the glitzy red carpets, and the carefully curated Instagram posts, there was a story of distance, ambition, and a family slowly drifting apart? This is the uncomfortable question now surrounding Cat Deeley and Patrick Kielty, a couple once celebrated as television's golden pair. But now, the truth is spilling out. Cat Deeley has officially moved out of the home she shared with Patrick, and the world is watching every move with brutal intensity. Critics are already circling, questioning her choices, her timing, and her priorities. And the question that keeps coming up is this: did Cat Deeley walk away from her marriage too quickly, too publicly, too carelessly? Or is Patrick Kielty the one left carrying the emotional weight while his estranged wife forges ahead with her career and her independence? This isn't just a split. This is the unraveling of a carefully built brand, and the backlash against Cat is growing louder by the day. Imagine the scene: a quiet North London street, suddenly disrupted by moving vans pulling up outside the £5 million home that Cat and Patrick once called their forever house. Workers carrying furniture, boxes stacked high, even a child's giant toy giraffe hauled out into the daylight for the neighbors and paparazzi to see. It was a striking picture, a clear signal to the world that Cat Deeley was no longer living under the same roof as Patrick Kielty. And here's where the critics pounce. Was it necessary to make such a spectacle? Was this about moving on, or was this about sending a message? Because to many, it didn't look like quiet heartbreak. It looked like a performance, a public statement of independence at the expense of her husband's privacy. Patrick, by contrast, has been described as subdued, introverted, quietly grappling with the separation in private. And that contrast has fueled the critics who argue that Cat Deeley appears more concerned with optics than with empathy. Let's not forget the house itself. This wasn't just any home. It was a property they poured 2 years of their lives into, a sprawling renovation worth £5 million. They called it their forever home, a symbol of their commitment, a foundation for their family and their 2 young sons. And yet, the very project that was meant to bind them together now stands as a symbol of everything falling apart. Friends have whispered that the strain of the renovation, the pressure of work, and the constant pull of London's entertainment world versus Patrick's quieter lifestyle chipped away at their bond. And in the end, it was Cat who packed up and walked out, leaving Patrick in the shell of the dream they once shared. Critics see this as more than just a house move. They see it as a metaphor for the marriage itself. She's moving on, he's left behind. But there's more. Earlier this year, Patrick Kielty lost his beloved mother, and while he traveled home to say goodbye and grieve with his family, Cat Deeley was nowhere to be seen. Her absence from the funeral raised eyebrows and stirred whispers. Some defended her, pointing to work commitments or personal circumstances, but others saw it as a glaring sign of distance, a woman pulling back from the ties that once bound her to Patrick's world. For critics, it cemented the image of Cat as detached, as someone prioritizing her own path while Patrick carried the weight of grief alone. This detail has not been forgotten, and now, with the split made public, it's resurfacing as part of the broader critique of her character. And here's where the narrative gets even more complicated. Cat and Patrick share 2 young sons, just 8 and 6 years old. Both parents have stressed that there was no third party involved in their split, no scandal of betrayal, just the slow and painful breakdown of a marriage. They've also pledged to co-parent with love and responsibility. But once again, critics are skeptical. How smooth can co-parenting really be when one partner is in London moving forward at full speed, while the other is reportedly struggling to come to terms with the separation? Cat has been described as trying not to let the split drag her down, determined to project strength and positivity, but in doing so, has she overlooked how deeply Patrick may be hurting? Is her resilience being misinterpreted as coldness? Or is it exactly what it looks like? A woman determined to control the narrative and stay ahead of the headlines? For Patrick Kielty, the sympathy is pouring in. Known for his wit, his quiet resilience, and his ability to endure tragedy, remember, he lost his father to political violence in Northern Ireland at a young age. Patrick has always been seen as the survivor, the one who shoulders pain without complaint. Now, fans see him as the wronged party, the man left to process heartbreak in silence while Cat moves out, moves forward, and moves on. This sympathy has only intensified as the contrast between them grows sharper. Her public strength against his private struggle, her determination against his vulnerability. Critics argue that while Cat Deeley is doing everything she can to stay afloat in the court of public opinion, she risks sinking her image in the eyes of fans who see Patrick as the more human, the more relatable figure in this painful story. And here's the big hook. What happens next? Will Cat Deeley face a long-term backlash, her image forever tarnished by accusations of coldness and ambition? Or will she, in time, win back the public by reframing herself as a strong, independent woman making tough choices in an impossible situation? And what about Patrick? Will he rebuild quietly, emerging as the dignified figure who commands respect for his grace under pressure? The future of their public reputations hangs in the balance, and every move, every word, every headline from this point forward will shape how they're remembered. So let's step back and ask, who do you believe here? Is Cat Deeley being unfairly painted as the villain in this story, or do the critics have a point? Was Patrick Kielty blindsided and left behind while his wife moved on, or is this simply a marriage that couldn't survive the pressures of fame, distance, and ambition? These are the questions no one can answer for certain, but they're the ones sparking debate across the tabloids, across social media, and across every living room where fans once saw Cat and Patrick as the perfect couple. And now I want to hear from you. Do you think Cat Deeley deserves the criticism she's getting? Or do you think she's just being judged too harshly because she's a woman making choices for herself? Is Patrick Kielty truly the sympathetic figure in all of this? Or is there another side of the story we don't yet know? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you want more unfiltered dives into the stories the mainstream media sugarcoats, hit that subscribe button right now, because what I've got coming next will blow this one wide open.